Maya wrapped her arms around the tall man's chest from behind, pressing hard against his ribs. His body shook as she squeezed, using all her strength to force the food from his throat. The piece of steak flew out, landing on the restaurant floor with a wet thud. The man gasped, filling his lungs with air. His face, which had turned purple just seconds before, slowly returned to normal. Maya stepped back, her heart pounding from the rush of adrenaline. "Are you okay?" she asked, her voice shaking. The man turned around and Maya's eyes widened. Even in the dim light of the small diner, she recognized him immediately. It was Elon Musk. The same face she'd seen on TV countless times, the same sharp features and intense eyes. "I'm alive because of you," he said, his voice hoarse. "Thank you." Maya nodded, still in shock. She'd been working at Pete's Diner for 3 years, and nothing like this had ever happened. The other customers stared at them, phones already out, recording everything. "Just doing my job," she managed to say. Elon looked around the diner, taking in the cracked vinyl booths and the flickering neon sign outside. His expensive suit looked completely out of place in the small restaurant on the outskirts of Austin, Texas. "What's your name?" he asked. Maya Chen." "Well, Maya Chen, you saved my life tonight." He pulled out his wallet and placed a $100 bill on the table. "This doesn't even begin to cover what you did for me." Maya shook her head. "I can't take that. Anyone would have done the same thing." "No," Elon said firmly. "Not everyone would have acted so quickly. You didn't hesitate for even a second." The other customers had gone back to their meals, but Maya could feel their eyes on her. She picked up the fallen napkin dispenser and straightened the salt and pepper shakers, trying to return to normal. "I should get back to work," she said. Elon nodded but didn't move toward the door. Instead, he sat back down in his booth and picked up his phone. Maya watched him type something quickly, then put the phone away. "What can I get you?" she asked, falling back into her routine. "Just water," he said. "And maybe your phone number." Maya's cheeks turned red. "I don't think that's a good idea." "Not for that reason," Elon said quickly. "I want to thank you properly. Tomorrow, please." Maya hesitated. She'd never given her number to a customer before, especially not someone like him. But something in his eyes made her trust him. "Okay," she said, writing her number on a napkin. "But I work tomorrow night too." "I'll remember that," Elon said, standing up. "Thank you again, Maya. You have no idea what you've done for me." After he left, Maya couldn't focus on her work. Her manager, Pete, came over with a concerned look. "You okay, kid? That was pretty intense." "I'm fine," Maya said, but she wasn't sure if that was true. The rest of her shift passed in a blur. She kept thinking about the moment when Elon had turned around, the relief in his eyes, when he could breathe again. She'd never saved anyone's life before. At home that night, Maya couldn't sleep. She kept checking her phone, wondering if he would actually call. Part of her hoped he would. Another part of her hoped he wouldn't. What could someone like Elon Musk possibly want with someone like her? Maya's phone rang at exactly 9 a.m. She'd been awake for hours, staring at the ceiling and replaying the events from the night before. The caller ID showed a number she didn't recognize. "Hello?" she answered carefully. "Maya, it's Elon, from last night." Her heart skipped. "Oh, hi, I hope I didn't wake you. I wanted to call earlier, but I figured you probably worked late." "No, I was awake." Maya sat up in bed, suddenly nervous. "How are you feeling?" "Better, thanks to you." "Listen, I meant what I said last night. I want to thank you properly. Are you free this afternoon?" Maya looked around her small apartment. The rent was due in 3 days, and she had exactly $47 in her bank account. She couldn't afford to miss a shift at the diner. "I have to work tonight," she said. "What time do you start?" 6. "Perfect. I'll pick you up at 2 p.m. We'll have you back in time for work." Maya wanted to ask where they were going, but something about his tone made her trust him. "Okay, but I should warn you, I don't live in the nicest part of town." "I don't care about that. What's your address?" After she gave him her address, there was a pause on the line. "Maya," Elon said, his voice serious. "What you did last night, it changed everything for me. I hope you understand that. I just did what anyone would do, Maya replied. No, you didn't, and tomorrow, you'll see what I mean. The line went dead. Maya stared at her phone, wondering what he meant by that. She had 4 hours to get ready, but she had no idea what to wear or where they were going. She spent the next hour cleaning her apartment, even though he probably wouldn't come inside. Then she stood in front of her small closet, trying to decide what to wear to meet one of the richest men in the world. Her nicest dress was a simple black one she'd bought for her sister's wedding 2 years ago. It would have to do. At exactly 2 p.m., Maya heard a knock on her door. She opened it to find Elon standing there, wearing jeans and a plain white t-shirt. He looked more normal than she'd expected. Ready? He asked. Where are we going? You'll see. They walked to the parking lot, where a black SUV waited. A driver held the door open for them. This is Marcus, Elon said as they got in. He's been with me for 5 years. Marcus nodded at Maya in the rearview mirror. Nice to meet you, miss. As they drove through Austin, Maya noticed they weren't heading toward the fancy part of town. Instead, they were going deeper into the area where she lived. Are we going to another restaurant? She asked. Something like that, Elon said. They pulled up in front of a small building that Maya recognized. It was the community center where she'd volunteered as a kid, teaching English to immigrant families. The building looked even more run down than she remembered. Why are we here? Maya asked. Elon smiled. Because this is where you're needed most. They got out of the car, and Maya saw a small crowd gathered near the entrance. As they got closer, she realized there were news cameras and reporters. What's going on? She asked, suddenly worried. Trust me, Elon said. This is important. A woman with a microphone approached them. Miss Musk, are you ready to make the announcement? Maya's stomach dropped. What announcement? Elon turned to her, his expression serious. Maya, last night you saved my life without thinking about who I was or what you might get in return. Today, I want to return the favor. I don't understand. This community center has been scheduled for demolition for 6 months. The city needs the land for a new shopping mall. But after last night, I realized something. The people who matter most are often the ones who get forgotten. Maya felt tears forming in her eyes. What are you saying? I'm saying that as of today, I'm buying this building and the entire block. We're going to renovate it, expand it, and turn it into a real community center. With a library, computer lab, kitchen, and classroom space. Maya couldn't speak. She looked at the old building, remembering all the hours she'd spent there as a volunteer. But that's not all, Elon continued. I want you to run it. Me? You? I've done my research, Maya. You have a degree in social work that you're not using because you can't find a job that pays enough. You volunteer at 3 different organizations in your spare time. You're exactly what this place needs. Maya felt dizzy. I can't. I don't know how to run something like that. You'll learn, and you'll have all the help you need. The reporters moved closer, and Maya realized that in a few minutes, her life would be completely different. She looked at Elon, seeing something in his eyes that she hadn't noticed before. Why? She whispered. Because sometimes one moment of kindness can change everything. Maya's hands shook, as the reporters surrounded them. She'd never been on camera before, and suddenly there were 5 different news crews pointing their equipment at her. Miss Chen, a reporter called out. How does it feel to know that saving someone's life has led to this opportunity? Maya looked at Elon, who nodded encouragingly. I'm still trying to process it all, she said into the microphone. Mr. Musk, another reporter shouted. Can you tell us more about your plans for this community center? Elon stepped forward. The Chen Community Center will serve over 5,000 families in this area. We'll have after-school programs, job training, English classes, and a food bank. The construction will begin next month. The Chen Community Center, Maya whispered. It's named after you, Elon said quietly. The person who reminded me what really matters. Maya felt overwhelmed. 24 hours ago, she was serving coffee and worried about making rent. Now her name was going to be on a building. Miss Chen, a reporter pressed. Did you know who you were saving when you performed the Heimlich maneuver? I knew, Maya said, finding her voice. But it didn't matter. Someone was choking. I had to help. And now Mr. Musk is investing millions in your community. What's your reaction? Maya looked around at the neighborhood where she'd grown up. The houses with peeling paint, the empty lot where kids had nowhere safe to play, the elderly people who had to take 2 buses just to get to the grocery store. I'm grateful, she said, but I'm also scared. This is a huge responsibility. You can handle it, Elon said. I've seen what you can do under pressure. After the press conference, they went inside the old building. Maya walked through the rooms, remembering her childhood. In one corner, she'd helped Mrs. Rodriguez learn to read English. In another, she'd taught computer skills to teenagers who couldn't afford their own computers. The renovation will take about 6 months, Elon said. In the meantime, we'll set up temporary programs in the high school gym. What about my job at the diner? Maya asked. You'll make 3 times what you're making now, with full benefits and a budget for programs. Pete understands. I already talked to him. Maya spun around. You talked to Pete? I told him one of his employees was about to become very important to this community. He said he always knew you were special. They spent the next hour walking through the building, with Elon explaining his vision, and Maya adding her own ideas. She knew exactly what the neighborhood needed, because she'd lived here her entire life. We need a daycare, she said. Most of the parents work 2 jobs and can't afford childcare. Done. And a health clinic. The nearest hospital is 40 minutes away. Already planned. What about a kitchen? For cooking classes, but also for people who don't have reliable stoves at home. Elon smiled. That's brilliant. See? You're already thinking like a director. As they prepared to leave, Maya realized something. Why didn't you just write a check to an existing charity? Why go through all this trouble? Elon stopped walking. Because last night I learned something about myself. I've been so focused on big ideas and grand plans that I forgot about the people right in front of me. You didn't save my life because you recognized me. You saved it because you saw someone who needed help. Anyone would have done the same thing. No, Maya, they wouldn't. I've eaten at expensive restaurants where the staff would have been too intimidated to touch me. I've been in meetings where people were afraid to speak up even when they saw problems. You acted without thinking about consequences. Maya felt tears in her eyes again. I just did what felt right. Exactly. And that's what this community needs. Someone who does what feels right, not what looks good on paper. They walked back to the car in comfortable silence. As they drove toward the diner, Maya watched the familiar streets pass by. Everything looked the same, but she knew it would all be different soon. Are you sure about this? She asked. What if I mess it up? You won't, Elon said. And even if you make mistakes, that's okay. The important thing is that you care about the people you're serving. What if the media attention gets to be too much? It will die down. In a few weeks, this will just be a story about a community center, but the work you do there will matter for decades. They pulled up in front of Pete's diner. Maya could see Pete inside, probably wondering where she was. Thank you, she said to Elon, for everything. Thank you for showing me what courage looks like, he replied. I'll see you tomorrow. We have a lot of work to do. As Maya walked into the diner, she realized that her life had changed completely in just 2 days. But the scariest part wasn't the new responsibility or the media attention. The scariest part was that she was starting to believe she might actually be able to make a difference. Maya stood in front of the mirror in her small bathroom, adjusting her blazer for the 5th time. It was her first day as director of the Chen Community Center, and she hadn't slept more than 3 hours. Her phone buzzed with a text from Elon. Remember, you saved my life without training. You can handle this. She smiled despite her nerve. Over the past month, they'd met almost every day to plan the center's programs. She'd discovered that behind his public image, Elon was surprisingly down to earth. He listened to her ideas and treated her like an equal partner. The temporary location was in the high school gym, just as Elon had promised. When Maya arrived, she found 23 people waiting outside. Parents with children, elderly residents, teenagers with nowhere else to go. Miss Ch called out Maria Santos, whose 3 kids Maya had tutored years ago. Is it true? Are you really going to help us? Maya took a deep breath. We're going to help each other, she said, unlocking the door. The first day was chaos. The computer lab consisted of 5 donated laptops set up on folding tables. The English classes were held in a corner near the basketball hoops. The childcare area was marked off with plastic cones. But something magical happened. The community showed up. Miss Johnson, a retired teacher, offered to help with the reading program. Miguel, a high school student, volunteered to teach basic computer skills. Even Pete from the diner sent over sandwiches for the volunteers. "This is amazing," Maya told Elon when he called that evening. "We had over 60 people today. How do you feel?" he asked. "Terrified, excited, overwhelmed." Maya laughed. "I think I understand now why you take on impossible projects. Because they're worth it. Because they're necessary." The next few weeks blurred together. Maya worked 12-hour days, learning about budgets and program management and non-profit regulations. She made mistakes daily, but each mistake taught her something new. The media attention was intense at first. Reporters came by every few days, wanting to see how the miracle waitress was doing. Maya hated the attention, but she endured it because it brought more volunteers and donations. "You're becoming famous," her sister Lisa said during one of their weekly phone calls. "I don't want to be famous," Maya replied. "I just want to help people." "That's exactly why you're good at this." One evening, as Maya was locking up the temporary center, she found Elon waiting by her car. "How was your day?" he asked. "Good. Hard, but good. We had 40 kids in the after-school program today, and the food bank served 37 families." Maya smiled. Mrs. Rodriguez donated 20 pounds of rice. She said it was her way of giving back. They walked to a nearby coffee shop, a routine they'd developed over the past month. Maya had learned that Elon was dealing with his own challenges. The media constantly criticized his decisions, and he rarely had anyone to talk to who wasn't trying to get something from him. "I have news," Elon said as they sat down. "The construction permits came through. We can break ground next week." Maya's heart raced. "Really? Really? The new building will be ready in 6 months. 3 times the size of the original, with everything we discussed. I can't believe this is happening." "Believe it. You've proven that you can handle anything." Maya looked out the window at the neighborhood she'd grown up in. Already she could see changes. The empty lot had been cleaned up by volunteers. Local businesses were staying open later, because more people were walking around. Kids were playing outside instead of hiding indoors. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Of course." "That night at the diner, you seemed different. Not just because you were choking. You seemed sad." Elon was quiet for a long moment. "I was thinking about my father. He died 2 years ago, and we never had a good relationship. I kept thinking about all the things I wanted to tell him but never did. I'm sorry. The point is, I was in a dark place that night. I was questioning everything I was doing, wondering if any of it mattered. Then you saved my life. And I realized that sometimes the most important things happen in the smallest moments." Maya felt tears in her eyes. "I'm glad you're okay. I'm glad you are there." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the neighborhood come alive in the evening. Maya realized that in trying to save Elon's life, she'd somehow saved her own. "Are you ready for tomorrow?" Elon asked. "What's tomorrow?" "The groundbreaking ceremony. Didn't I tell you?" Maya's stomach dropped. "More cameras?" "Just a few. The mayor will be there, and some of the families from the program. It's important, Maya. This is the beginning of something bigger." "What do you mean?" Elon smiled. "I mean that what we're doing here is just the start. I've been thinking about creating community centers like this in other neighborhoods, with you helping to design the programs." Maya stared at him. "You want to do this in other places?" "I want to do this everywhere it's needed, but only if you're willing to help." Maya thought about the kids she'd met over the past month, the parents who were learning English, the elderly people who had a safe place to gather, the teenagers who had somewhere to go after school. "Yes," she said. "I'm willing." As they walked back to their cars, Maya realized that choking on a piece of steak had been the best thing that ever happened to both of them.